Before we begin, I want you to do something very simple. Take a deep breath. Now, close your eyes for just a few seconds and think about the person who has been living in your heart. The one you still miss. The one you still pray for. The one whose name appears in your mind when you're not even trying to think about them. If one specific person came into your mind instantly, then this reading may have found you for a reason. This isn't a coincidence. There is something important happening in the energy surrounding your connection. For weeks, or maybe even months, you've been asking yourself the same questions. Do they still think about me? Do they still love me? Will they ever come back? Will they finally choose me? Those questions have stayed with you because your heart has never truly given up on this connection. You may have tried to move on. You may have told yourself that you were done waiting. You may have smiled in front of other people while quietly carrying the pain inside. But deep in your heart, you never stopped hoping. And today, that hope may not have been in vain. Because the energy I'm seeing is very different from what it was before. Something has shifted. Something has changed inside the person you're thinking about. They are no longer looking at this connection the same way they once did. For a long time, fear controlled their decisions. Fear of getting hurt. Fear of rejection. Fear of responsibility. Fear of opening their heart again after everything they had already been through. Instead of expressing what they truly felt, they chose silence. Instead of taking one step toward you, they stayed where they felt emotionally safe. From the outside, it may have looked like they didn't care. But the truth is, sometimes people hide the deepest feelings behind the strongest walls. Not because the love isn't real, but because the emotions feel too overwhelming to face. Your person has been carrying much more than anyone realizes. There have been sleepless nights. Moments of regret. Questions they couldn't answer. Memories they couldn't forget. No matter how busy they tried to become, some part of their heart kept returning to you. Your smile. Your conversations. The way you understood them. The comfort they felt around you. Those memories never completely disappeared. In fact, they've become stronger recently. Maybe that's why you've suddenly started feeling their energy again. Maybe that's why you've been thinking about them without any obvious reason. Sometimes two hearts begin reconnecting long before two people actually speak. Energy moves first. Actions come later. And that's exactly what I'm seeing here. Your connection is entering a new chapter. Not because someone forced it, but because life itself has changed both of you. The person you love has learned lessons they couldn't have understood before. They've experienced situations that made them realize what truly matters. They've met different people. Faced different challenges. Made different choices. And through all of that, one realization kept growing inside them. Some people come into your life for a season. But others become impossible to replace. That realization is becoming impossible for them to ignore. For the first time in a long time, they're beginning to question the decisions they made. They're wondering if they walked away from something that was actually meant to stay. They're wondering if fear made them lose someone who genuinely cared about them. These thoughts are becoming louder every single day. And when those questions begin, change usually follows. The interesting thing is, while they've been changing, you've been changing too. You may not even realize how much you've grown. You're stronger now. Wiser now. More emotionally mature than you were before. Yes. You still care about this person. But you're slowly learning that your happiness doesn't depend on chasing someone who isn't ready. That quiet confidence you've been building is changing your energy. And believe it or not, they can feel it. Even if there has been no communication. Even if it's been months. Even if you've completely stopped reaching out. Energy doesn't always need words. Sometimes hearts understand what mouths never say. That's why today feels different. This isn't the same waiting energy you've been carrying before. This feels like movement. Slow. But real movement. The walls around their heart are beginning to fall. Not all at once. But little by little. And sometimes. That's exactly how the strongest relationships begin. Not with dramatic moments. But with one honest realization after another. So don't leave this reading yet. Because what I'm about to reveal next may explain why your person's heart is finally becoming ready for the commitment they've avoided for so long. And trust me, the next message is even more surprising than this one. The biggest change isn't happening around your person. It's happening inside them. For a very long time, they believed they had more time. More time to figure things out. More time to heal. More time to decide what they truly wanted. But life has a way of reminding us that nothing stays the same forever. Recently, something made them stop and reflect. It could have been a conversation. A memory. A lonely night. Or simply the realization that the people who truly love us don't wait forever. That realization shook them more deeply than they expected. For the first time, they stopped running from their emotions. Instead, they started listening to them. And every answer kept leading back to you. They've been asking themselves questions they avoided for months. What if they're the one I was always meant to choose? What if my fear made me push away the person who loved me the most? What if I never get another chance? These aren't easy questions. They are the kind of questions that keep someone awake at night. The kind that replay old memories over and over again. Your person has been revisiting moments they thought they had forgotten. The first conversations. The laughter you shared. The comfort they felt in your presence. Even the small details they once overlooked have suddenly become meaningful. Sometimes, distance doesn't erase love. It simply makes people understand its value. The silence between you wasn't empty. It was filled with lessons. Lessons both of you needed to learn separately. Because if this connection had continued the way it was before, neither of you would have become the person you are today. Growth often happens in separation. And reunion only becomes possible after that growth is complete. Your person is beginning to understand that commitment isn't about losing freedom. It's about finding someone who makes life feel more meaningful. That belief is replacing the fears they once carried. Little by little, their heart is opening again. They may not show it to everyone. In fact, most people around them have no idea what's going on inside. They smile. They continue with their daily routine. They act as if everything is normal. But deep down, something keeps pulling them toward you. It's becoming harder for them to ignore your absence. They're beginning to notice how different life feels without your energy. And that's creating an emotional shift they can no longer deny. What's even more interesting is that your energy has become calmer. You're no longer trying to force answers. You're slowly learning to trust divine timing. That inner peace is changing everything. Because love flows more naturally when fear is no longer controlling it. The universe often works in silence. Before two hearts reconnect, there is usually a period where everything seems quiet. Nothing appears to be happening. But behind the scenes, everything is moving into place. This connection feels exactly like that. The pieces are slowly coming together. Not because of luck, but because both hearts have been learning the lessons they needed most. One lesson for them. One lesson for you. And now, those lessons are beginning to meet in the middle. If you've been seeing repeating numbers, if you've been thinking about them out of nowhere, if you've suddenly felt emotional without understanding why, don't ignore those feelings. Sometimes our intuition notices change before our eyes can see it. The energy says your story isn't finished yet. There is still another chapter waiting to be written. But before that chapter begins, there is one final emotional wall your person must overcome. And once that wall falls, everything starts moving much faster than either of you expected. That final emotional wall is something many people never talk about. It isn't a lack of love. It isn't a lack of attraction. It isn't even a lack of desire to be together. It's fear. The fear of being vulnerable. The fear of hearing the word no. The fear of wondering if too much time has already passed. Your person has been carrying these fears for much longer than you realize. From the outside, they may have looked confident. They may have acted as though nothing affected them. They may have convinced everyone that they had already moved on. But the heart tells a different story. Behind every smile, there has been uncertainty. Behind every distraction, there has been longing. And behind every moment of silence, there has been a conversation they kept having with themselves. What if I reach out? What if they don't respond? What if I've already lost them forever? Those thoughts have been growing louder every single day. The interesting part is, the more they tried to ignore their feelings, the stronger those feelings became. Because real emotions don't disappear simply because we avoid them. They wait. They grow. And eventually, they demand to be heard. Your person has reached that point. They're beginning to understand that pretending not to care is far more painful than admitting the truth. For some of you, this person has even imagined what it would be like to speak to you again. They've played different conversations over in their mind. They've imagined hearing your voice. They've wondered how you would react if they suddenly appeared in your life again. These aren't random thoughts. They come from a heart that is slowly preparing itself to take action. But here's something equally important. The universe isn't only working on them. It's working on you too. You may have noticed that you're becoming more patient. Not because you've stopped caring, but because you've started trusting that what's meant for you will never truly miss you. That inner peace is powerful. It changes the energy you send into the world. And your person can feel that shift, even if they can't explain how. Sometimes we think love is about chasing. But true love often begins the moment chasing ends. When two people stop acting from fear, they finally start acting from the heart. That's the energy surrounding this connection now. The old version of this relationship was built on confusion. The new version has the potential to be built on honesty. The old version was filled with unanswered questions. The new version is moving toward open conversations. The old version was controlled by fear. The new version is learning courage. That is why this reading feels so significant. This isn't just about someone missing you. It's about someone realizing your value. It's about someone understanding that love is a choice they can no longer postpone. Every lesson they've experienced has been leading them toward this moment. Every disappointment taught them what truly matters. Every mistake helped them recognize what they almost lost. And every memory of you became another reminder that some connections cannot be replaced. If you've stayed with this reading until now, perhaps your heart already sensed this change before your mind could understand it. Sometimes our soul recognizes a new beginning long before it arrives in the physical world. So don't let temporary silence convince you that nothing is happening. The deepest transformations often happen where no one else can see them. And right now, a transformation is taking place inside the heart of the person you love. In the next part, we'll explore the signs that this inner transformation may soon begin showing up in the real world, and what kind of communication or changes could naturally unfold as this connection continues to evolve. Now let's talk about something that many people overlook. When someone's heart truly begins to change, the signs often appear long before the words do. Your person may not wake up one morning and suddenly confess everything they've been feeling. That's rarely how real emotional healing works. Instead, it happens one small step at a time. First comes awareness. Then acceptance. Then courage. And finally, action. Right now, your person seems to be moving through those final stages. They're becoming more honest with themselves. For the first time in a long while, they're no longer trying to convince themselves that they don't care. Because the truth has become impossible to ignore. No matter how busy life gets. No matter how many distractions come and go. Your place in their heart hasn't disappeared. In fact, it has become even clearer. Sometimes people only understand the value of a connection after they've experienced life without it. That doesn't mean they stopped loving you. It means they needed time to recognize what your presence truly meant. Your absence became their greatest lesson. Every day without you quietly reminded them of everything they once took for granted. The conversations. The laughter. The comfort. The feeling that someone genuinely understood them without judgment. Those memories have become impossible to replace. What's even more surprising? They're beginning to compare every new experience with the connection they had with you. And no matter how hard they try, nothing feels quite the same. That realization has changed the way they see the future. Before, they were focused on avoiding commitment. Now, they're beginning to imagine what commitment could actually feel like with the right person. That is a huge emotional shift. Because commitment isn't scary when it's built on trust. It isn't heavy when it's shared with someone who brings peace. And your person is slowly realizing that you were never asking them for perfection. You were simply asking for honesty. For consistency. For a chance to build something real. Those truths are becoming impossible for them to ignore. At the same time, the universe seems to be encouraging both of you to let go of old pain. Holding on to past disappointment only keeps the heart looking backward. Healing creates space for something new. And that's exactly what this energy is encouraging. If reconciliation is meant to happen, it won't happen through fear. It won't happen through pressure. It will happen through mutual understanding. Through emotional maturity. Through two people choosing to communicate differently than they did before. That is the biggest difference between the past and the future. The past was driven by assumptions. The future has the potential to be guided by truth. So if you've been wondering whether this connection still matters, the energy says it does. If you've been wondering whether you've been forgotten, the energy says your memory has remained alive in their heart. And if you've been wondering whether they're finally becoming ready for something serious, the energy suggests that their understanding of love is changing in a meaningful way. Sometimes the greatest miracle isn't that someone comes back. It's that both people become the kind of individuals who can finally create the relationship they once couldn't. Perhaps that's what this journey has always been about. Not just finding each other again, but finding yourselves first. And once that happens, love no longer feels like a risk. It begins to feel like home. Before we end this reading, there is one final message that feels incredibly important. A message about divine timing, trust, and the unexpected way this next chapter may begin. Before we close this reading, there's one final message that keeps coming through very strongly. It's about timing. For so long, you've been asking, when? When will they reach out? When will they understand? When will things finally change? But sometimes, the universe doesn't answer with a date. It answers with preparation. Because if something beautiful arrives before both hearts are ready, it often falls apart again. That's why this journey has taken longer than you expected. It wasn't meant to punish you. It was meant to prepare both of you. Your person needed to learn that love cannot survive on silence alone. They needed to understand that avoiding difficult conversations doesn't protect a relationship. It only creates more distance. And you needed to remember your own worth. You needed to stop questioning whether you were enough. Because you have always been enough. The right person doesn't complete you. They appreciate the person you've already become. That lesson has changed your energy. Today, you're standing in a different place emotionally than you were months ago. You still love. But you also respect yourself. You still hope. But you no longer allow fear to control your heart. That balance is powerful. And it's creating a new foundation for this connection. The energy also suggests that your person has been noticing signs they can't explain. Something keeps reminding them of you. Maybe it's a familiar song. A place you once visited together. A dream that felt unusually real. Or even your name appearing in unexpected moments. At first, they dismissed these things as coincidence. Now, they're beginning to wonder if life is trying to tell them something. Sometimes the universe speaks softly. Not through loud miracles, but through repeated reminders that gently lead someone back to where their heart belongs. Your person is starting to listen. They're becoming more aware of what they've been feeling all along. And awareness is always the first step toward meaningful change. If communication happens, don't expect everything to be perfect immediately. Real healing takes honesty. It takes patience. It takes two people who are willing to leave old misunderstandings behind. But that's exactly what this energy is encouraging. Not repeating the past. Creating something better than the past. Because love grows strongest when both people have learned from their mistakes. As this reading comes to an end, remember one thing. No reading can promise an exact outcome. Every person has free will. Every relationship follows its own path. But today's energy reflects a heart that is becoming more open. A mind that is becoming more certain. and a connection that is moving away from fear and toward understanding. So instead of asking yourself, will they choose me? Perhaps ask a different question. Are both of us becoming the people who can finally choose each other in a healthy way? Sometimes that single shift in perspective changes everything. If this message resonated with your heart, take it as an invitation to continue growing, continue healing, and continue trusting that whatever is truly meant for you will arrive at the right time. Thank you for spending these moments with me. Take care of your heart. Protect your peace. And never forget, the most beautiful love stories are not built by chasing. They are built by two hearts that grow, heal, and finally find the courage to meet each other again. Until next time. Stay blessed, stay hopeful, and remember, what is truly meant for you will never ask you to become someone you're not. It will simply ask you to keep your heart open when the right moment finally arrives. And before you leave, I want you to stay with me for just one more minute. Because there is one last message that I don't want you to miss. Sometimes we spend so much time waiting for someone else to make a decision that we forget how much our own energy influences the outcome. Love is never just about one person. It's about two hearts growing in the same direction. If this connection is truly meant to move forward, both of you will need to choose honesty over ego, communication over silence, and understanding over assumptions. That is the lesson this connection has been trying to teach from the very beginning. So from today onward, release the need to control every outcome. Release the fear that says, what if it never happens? And replace it with a new belief. If this love is meant for me, it will find its way back in the right way and at the right time. There is incredible peace in that mindset. Because it allows you to keep loving without losing yourself. It allows you to keep hoping without becoming dependent on uncertainty. And it reminds you that your value has never depended on another person's timing. As you move forward, continue becoming the best version of yourself. Keep healing. Keep smiling. Keep creating the life you've always dreamed of. Because the brightest version of you is also the most magnetic. Whether your person reaches out tomorrow, next week, or later than expected, don't stop living your life. The right connection should add happiness to your life, not become the only source of it. And if this reading found you today, maybe it wasn't only to give you hope about another person. Maybe it was also to remind you of the incredible strength that's always existed within you. Never underestimate the power of a peaceful heart. Never underestimate the power of patience. And never underestimate the power of genuine love. Real love doesn't disappear because of distance. It doesn't fade because of temporary silence. When two people are willing to learn, grow, and forgive, love often returns stronger than before. So keep your heart open. Keep your faith alive. And trust that every chapter of your story is preparing you for the next one. Thank you for being here today. If this message touched your heart in any way, let me know in the comments by simply writing, "I trust divine timing." Seeing those words creates a beautiful space of hope and positivity for everyone reading the comments. And if you enjoyed this reading, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another message that may be meant for you. Until we meet again, may your heart remain peaceful. May your path be filled with light. And may the love that is truly meant for you arrive with honesty, clarity, and the commitment you've always deserved. Take care. And I'll see you in the next reading. Even now, as this reading comes to its final moments, I have a feeling that someone listening needed to hear one more message. This message is for the person who has been losing hope. For the one who has cried in silence. For the one who has questioned their own worth because someone else couldn't express their feelings. Please hear this carefully. Never measure your value by another person's inability to love you the way you deserved. Sometimes people don't walk away because you weren't enough. They walk away because they haven't yet become the person capable of receiving genuine love. There is a big difference. And today, your person's heart seems to be moving toward that understanding. The lessons they once resisted, they are finally accepting. The emotions they once buried, they are finally feeling. The truth they once denied, they are finally facing. That doesn't erase the past, but it does create the possibility of a different future. If life gives both of you another chance, don't try to recreate what existed before. Create something completely new. A relationship built on trust instead of assumptions. On communication instead of silence. On honesty instead of fear. Because that's how lasting love is created. Not by pretending mistakes never happened, but by learning from them together. As you move through the coming days, pay attention to your intuition. Not your fear. Fear speaks loudly. Intuition speaks softly. Fear creates confusion. Intuition creates peace. Whenever you wonder about this connection, ask yourself one simple question. Does this thought bring me peace or does it create anxiety? If it creates anxiety, release it. If it brings peace, hold on to that feeling. Because peace is often where truth quietly lives. Remember, no matter what happens, your story isn't only about finding love. It's about becoming someone who can receive healthy, lasting, and genuine love. That journey is already transforming you. And perhaps, that has been the greatest gift of all. Thank you once again for sharing this moment with me. I truly hope this reading brought comfort, clarity, and hope into your heart. May your days ahead be filled with healing. May your nights be filled with peace. And may every step you take bring you closer to the life and the love that are truly meant for you. Until next time, take care of yourself. Keep believing in your own worth. And always remember, the right love will never require you to beg for commitment. It will arrive when two hearts are finally ready to choose each other, freely, honestly, and completely. Before this reading truly ends, I want you to sit quietly for just a few more moments. Don't rush away. Sometimes the most meaningful message arrives at the very end. Close your eyes again. Think about the person you've been holding in your heart. Now ask yourself something very honestly. If they stood in front of you today, would you still choose love? Or would you choose the pain of the past? That question is more important than it seems. Because love cannot grow where resentment continues to live. Forgiveness doesn't always mean forgetting. It means refusing to let yesterday control tomorrow. Your person has been carrying regrets. You have been carrying unanswered questions. Both of those burdens have become heavy. Too heavy. And perhaps that's why the universe has brought both of you to this point. Not to relive old wounds, but to finally heal them. Sometimes people don't come back to repeat the same story. Sometimes they return because both characters have changed. Maybe that's what's happening now. Maybe this journey was never about proving who loved more. Maybe it was about teaching both of you how to love better. That is a lesson worth waiting for. As you move forward from this reading, don't spend every hour looking for signs. Instead, become the sign. Become the person who wakes up with gratitude. Who chooses peace over panic. Who believes in love without losing self-respect. Who trusts that what belongs to them will never pass them by. That energy is powerful. It attracts clarity. It attracts honesty. And most importantly, it attracts relationships that are built on mutual respect. Whether this person reaches out soon, or whether life has another surprise waiting for you, never forget this truth. You deserve someone who chooses you without hesitation. Someone who communicates. Someone who stays. Someone who doesn't make you question your place in their life every single day. Because real commitment isn't proven through beautiful words. It's proven through consistent actions. And if your person has truly changed, their actions will eventually speak louder than anything they could ever say. So don't chase proof. Allow time to reveal it naturally. Trust actions more than promises. Trust consistency more than emotions. And trust your own intuition more than your fears. As we say goodbye today, I want to leave you with one final affirmation. Repeat it quietly in your heart. I am worthy of a love that is honest, peaceful, loyal, and committed. What is meant for me will never miss me, and I trust life to bring the right people into my journey at the right time. Hold on to those words. Return to them whenever doubt appears. Because sometimes, the greatest transformation doesn't happen in the person you're waiting for. It happens inside you. And once that transformation is complete, everything else begins to fall into place. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting this message. May love find you. May peace stay with you. And may every chapter ahead be brighter than the one you leave behind. Until our next reading. Take care, stay hopeful, and never stop believing that beautiful beginnings often arrive after the longest endings. And if you're still listening, I don't believe that's by accident. There are thousands of people who could have clicked away by now. But you stayed. Maybe because something inside your heart is still searching for answers. Or maybe because your soul already recognizes that this message is connected to your journey. Whatever the reason, I'm grateful you're here. Let me leave you with one final thought. Life has a mysterious way of bringing people back together. Not when they're lonely. Not when they're desperate. But when they're finally ready. Ready to communicate. Ready to understand. Ready to choose love instead of fear. If your person is truly walking toward that place, you'll notice the difference. There will be less confusion. Less uncertainty. Less emotional distance. And more honesty. More consistency. More effort. Because real commitment isn't something people simply talk about. It's something they demonstrate every single day. Never forget that. Beautiful words can touch the heart. But consistent actions build lasting trust. As you continue your own journey, don't stop living while waiting for someone else's decision. Keep chasing your dreams. Keep building your future. Keep taking care of your mind, your heart, and your peace. The happiest relationships are often created by two people who already know how to be whole on their own. That's the version of yourself the universe is encouraging you to become. Strong. Peaceful. Confident. Loving. Not because someone else completes you, but because you've learned to complete yourself. And when two complete people meet, love becomes a choice, not a dependency. That's the kind of relationship your heart truly deserves. Before we end, I want you to remember 3 simple truths. The first: never force what requires mutual willingness. The second: never settle for less than the respect you freely give to others. And the third: never lose faith in love simply because one chapter was difficult. One painful experience does not define your entire story. Sometimes, the chapters that hurt the most prepare us for the chapters that heal us the deepest. Maybe this connection becomes that healing. Maybe life surprises you in an even greater way. Either way, your future still holds possibilities you cannot yet see. So choose hope over fear. Choose healing over resentment. Choose faith over doubt. And most importantly, choose yourself every single day. Because when you honor your own heart, the right people naturally learn how to honor it too. Thank you for sharing this beautiful journey with me. If this reading brought peace to your heart, type these words in the comments. I am ready for healthy love. Say it with belief. Not because you're trying to convince the universe, but because you're reminding yourself of what you truly deserve. May your heart stay light. May your mind stay peaceful. May your path be guided by wisdom. And may every blessing that's meant for you arrive at exactly the right moment. Until we meet again, stay safe. Stay hopeful. Keep your faith alive. And always remember, the love that is truly meant for you will never ask you to shrink, chase endlessly, or forget your worth. It will meet you with honesty, respect, commitment, and peace. God bless you. Before we say goodbye, I want you to remember one last thing. No matter where you are in your journey, never lose hope in love. But at the same time, never lose yourself while waiting for it. The person you love may be changing. Their heart may finally be opening. They may finally be ready to choose commitment over fear. But the most important transformation has also happened within you. You have become stronger, wiser, more patient, and far more aware of your own worth than you were before. That growth is something no one can take away from you. If this connection is truly meant to move forward, it will happen through honesty, respect, and consistent effort from both sides. Not through confusion. Not through endless waiting. And not through empty promises. Real love always finds a way to create peace, not constant anxiety. So from this moment forward, release every fear you've been carrying. Release every question that has kept you awake at night. Trust that what is truly meant for your life will arrive at the perfect time. And when it does, it will never leave you wondering where you stand. It will choose you clearly, freely, and wholeheartedly. And with that, our reading comes to an end. If your heart brought you here today, I hope this message gave you clarity, comfort, and hope for the journey ahead. Remember, no matter what happens next, never forget your worth. The right love will never require you to chase endlessly or question your value. It will meet you with honesty, respect, consistency, and commitment. Trust that every delay has been preparing you for something greater. Every lesson has been shaping your heart for the love you truly deserve. And if this connection is meant to be, it will unfold naturally at the right time, with both of you ready to choose each other completely. Before you leave, I want you to write one powerful affirmation in the comments. I trust divine timing. What is meant for me will find me. When you write those words, let them be a promise to yourself that you're choosing faith over fear and peace over uncertainty. If this reading resonated with you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another message that may be meant for you. Thank you for being here. May your heart be filled with peace. May your path be guided by light. May love enter your life in the most beautiful and unexpected way. Until our next reading. Take care of yourself, stay blessed, and remember. The person you love may be getting ready to choose you, but never stop choosing yourself first.